You cannot escape the ads.
We have been ramping up our truth test segment here at 9 News.
The ads ran a total of 109 times yesterday. In fact, we just saw the ad in the last commercial break. We have to call the claim false.
It's misleading.
This is a statement in dire need of context. So here's some added context.
9 News will hold the political ads on our station accountable.
You can see past truth tests that we have done on the political page at 9news.com.
Today's ad comes from Congressman Mike Kaufman's re-election campaign. It's aimed at making his Democratic opponent Joe McCloskey look soft on child predators because of a vote he took. We'll explain it in a moment, but let's start at the beginning.
258,000 children are abducted in America every year.
Shocking? Sure. Used to set up an argument about child predators, it's also pretty misleading. This would be almost one abduction every 2 minutes, but abductions by child predators are relatively rare, making big news when they happen. So what's with this number? Well, 200,000 of these cases are abductions by family members. They can be serious incidents, but very few involve the use of force or a threat. A better number would have been the other 58,000 cases, abductions by non-family members. Those cases can be anything from a disgruntled babysitter who won't return the kids to a rapist with a camper van. Only 115 cases a year are what the Justice Department calls stereotypical kidnappings, with a child being kept overnight, taken long distances, or killed. Still a big number if you think about it, but it doesn't sensationalize the problem like this ad does.
When concerned parents pushed the state of Colorado to pass mandatory sentences for child predators, they failed by just 4 votes, including Joe McCloskey's vote. Joe McCloskey cast one of the deciding votes against Jessica's law.
This claim needs context. Jessica's Law had its own bill in 2009, which died in committee. McCloskey never voted on it. Supporters tried to resurrect Jessica's Law by amending it onto another bill that year, one that toughened penalties on internet predators. McCloskey's campaign says he voted against the amendment because it put the internet predator bill in danger of failing. Jessica's Law was controversial because of its price tag and because many sexual predators already end up in prison for life in Colorado. McCloskey did vote for the internet predator bill. Bottom line, this ad blows numbers out of proportion and oversimplifies McCloskey's voting record on the issue. With your truth test, Brandon Rittiman, 9 News. Medicare is the government health care program for seniors who care deeply about it and they vote. So you can see why this makes a good political football. As a campaign, you always want to make the other guy look bad on Medicare. We'll start with an ad that does that from the Romney campaign.
Obama has cut $716 billion from Medicare. Why? To pay for Obamacare.
Let's wind the video back a little bit and look at this claim, which is half true. The number comes from a Congressional Budget Office letter that said if you repealed Obamacare, you'd have to spend $716 billion more on Medicare. That's because Obamacare controls the future cost of Medicare by lowering the rates it pays to hospitals and insurance companies. You can construe that as cutting Medicare spending, but it's not a literal cut to the Medicare budget, and none of that cut is to benefits.
So now the money you paid for your guaranteed health care is going to a massive new government program that's not for you.
This claim is misleading. It leaves you with the impression that President Obama raided money from Medicare and spent it on a bunch of new health care programs. What Obamacare really did was keep Medicare costs from growing as quickly and use the savings to help get insurance for more people. The Obama campaign has a counter ad.
The nonpartisan AARP says Obamacare cracks down on Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse and strengthens guaranteed benefits.
Now, the AARP did say those things, but it's all opinion. These are the intentions of Obamacare, but many parts of it haven't become law yet, so we don't know it will do any of that.
And experts say Ryan's voucher plan could raise future retirees' costs more than $6,000.
This claim is unproven. The number is based on a study of an old Ryan plan, not his current one. The same study hasn't been done for his current plan, which would allow seniors to choose between traditional Medicare or a private plan. In other words, no mandatory vouchers. The bottom line here, neither campaign proposes cutting benefits for Medicare. They both want to control future costs, but in different ways. A debate that will have more impact on future seniors and almost none on the people who use Medicare today. With your truth tests, Brandon Rittiman, 9 News.
Today we'll look at Mitt Romney's new defense ad. It's running in swing states. The ad looks the same everywhere but uses different numbers tailored to each state. So we'll look at the one airing right here in Colorado.
But this president cannot tell us that you're better off today than when he took office.
Here in Colorado, we're not better off under President Obama.
This is an opinion, and it cannot be tested, and obviously varies from person to person.
His defense cuts will weaken national security.
We'll label this statement as another opinion, but it needs strong context. The Obama administration has approved $450 billion in defense cuts over 10 years. But there's more cuts to the military budget that could come in January if Congress doesn't act. It's part of what's called the Budget Control Act. Mitt Romney's running mate, Paul Ryan, actually voted for it. Ryan says he doesn't agree with the cuts and Romney would work with Congress to overturn them. But back to the statement, there's no way to actually test whether defense cuts will weaken national security.
Romney's plan: reverse Obama defense cuts, strengthen our military.
This statement is true. Both Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan are on the record saying they want to reverse defense cuts. Romney has said he would put the defense budget for military spending back to 2010 levels. They say defense cuts should not be part of a budget reduction plan. Romney's also on the record saying he'd use budget savings from the Pentagon to add 100,000 active duty military members.
And create over 200,000 new jobs for Colorado.
Now, this ad doesn't refer to a plan to create these jobs or describe exactly what kind of jobs they would be. To see if it's true, you should check back in 2016 if Romney's elected. Romney said at the Republican convention he has a plan to create 12 million jobs across the U.S. by 2016. If you divide 12 million by all 50 states, it's likely Colorado would receive at least 200,000 new jobs. But at least two major financial analysts are on record saying 12 million jobs would be created during the next 4 years, no matter who is president. For the 9 News Truth Test team, I'm Matt Fleener.
This one comes from Congressman Ed Perlmutter's campaign, and it's a great example of digging up dirt.
Coors' history is full of despicable things. He called AIDS God's punishment of homosexuals.
And because the announcer disclaimed that it was from Coors' past, this claim is true. Of course, it leaves you wondering when Coors believed this and what he believes now. So here's some added context. 24 years ago, Coors told the LA Times that he regretted that he used to believe this. Here's the relevant part of the profile piece from 1988. Until only recently, Joe Coors also committed the sin of arrogance, of being personally judgmental. He believed, he says, looking ashamed of himself, that AIDS was God's special retribution to gays. Today, his campaign says Coors admits that was a stupid thing to think, but they point out it was a quarter century ago. We did get Coors and Perlmutter on the broader issue at our recent debate.
Do you support the president's change of heart this year that gay marriage should be legal?
Yes.
No.
And with that, we'll move on.
He opposes abortion, even for rape victims.
This claim is arguable. Only 2 years ago, Coors supported the Personhood Amendment, which aimed to create an abortion ban in Colorado. Coors now states he would not support personhood efforts and that he believes in exceptions for cases of rape and incest.
And Coors lost millions on a get-rich-quick scheme, causing the Wall Street Journal and Fox News to call him steeped in greed.
Well, the use of this quote is misleading because these news organizations didn't call Coors that, but they both ran a syndicated column that did. The quote itself is accurate. As for the bogus investment it's all about, that story is true. Coors and a partner lost millions in a scam. Coors adds that the rest of the people in his family trust signed off on the investment, and he worked with authorities to catch the scammers. Overall, this ad points to some true things in Coors' past, but it doesn't give you the full context. With your truth test, Brandon Rittiman, 9 News.
This ad uses the AARP and its voter guide, talking about facts as if they're opinions. The AARP says it had nothing to do with this ad approved by President Obama.
The new AARP voter guide is out with facts you need on Medicare. Fact: Barack Obama will protect your guaranteed benefits and will not allow Medicare to become a voucher program.
This is a statement of opinion. We've explained in a previous truth test on Medicare, neither campaign would cut Medicare benefits. Both want to control how much money Medicare costs.
Fact: Mitt Romney would take away Medicare's guaranteed benefits and instead give future retirees premium support or vouchers.
This statement is false. It's true Romney wants future retirees to have the option of choosing between premium support vouchers or traditional Medicare plans, but Romney does not plan to take away Medicare's guaranteed benefits.
AARP opposes that plan.
We'll label this as misleading. This claim comes from a letter AARP's chief executive officer sent to Congress. The letter says private options could lead to higher costs for seniors, but the AARP made no direct statement about Romney's plan.
Nonpartisan analysts say it could raise seniors' costs up to $6,400 a year. Get the facts.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
The claim it could raise costs for seniors is only half true. It's based on outdated research, and it's unproven for Romney's current plan. The bottom line, this ad is misleading. AARP is a nonpartisan institution which does not endorse either candidate. For the 9 News Truth Test team, I'm Matt Fleener.
Both of these ads focus on Democratic challenger Sal Pace, and both stretch the facts. We'll start with this one from Pace's own campaign. It features a retired steel worker in Pueblo who complains about Chinese steel being used to build a bridge there.
Sal Pace was the only one who listened. Because of Sal, the law was changed so Colorado projects were built with American steel.
The claim being made in the voiceover is misleading because it makes Pace's record on protectionism sound much more impressive than it is. As a state representative, Pace tried but failed to pass bills to get the state to buy more U.S. steel. Later that year, Pace worked with Democratic Governor Bill Ritter, who signed an executive order that was pretty watered down compared to Pace's bills. Pace's sentiment is there, but this ad overstates his record. Here's what Republican incumbent Scott Tipton's ad has to say about Pace.
Politician Sal Pace. He supports the new health care law.
I'll leave aside the irony of a congressman's campaign using politician as a dirty word. We give this claim a mixed verdict. The voiceover makes it sound like Pace supported the entire Health Care Act. He doesn't. In fact, Pace opposes the individual mandate, the most controversial part of the law. The text you see on the screen, though, more accurately highlights that he supports much of the bill. And as a side note, the article on screen also points out parts of the health care law that Tipton supports.
Pace supports a single-payer government health care system, a wholesale Washington takeover of health care, forcing everyone onto a government plan.
This is also misleading. In 2009, Pace co-sponsored a bill to study government health care for Colorado, so his record shows he's open to the concept. If that bothers you, it's worth taking note of, but it was a state bill. Pace has not promoted a national government health system, as this ad would have you believe. End result, this ad has to stretch the record pretty far to tie Pace to controversial national policy. With your truth test, Brandon Ritteman, 9 News.